This video is only one part of an in-depth review, so check out the rest at thegoodride.com. Thanks for watching. Welcome to The Good Ride, where it's not about our pride, it's just about how it rides. And this is the Arbor Element Camber. I rode this with Adidas Tactical ADVs as usual and Union Stratas, and got this out at the end of the season in some pretty rough spring conditions, but I was just lucky to be out. Mount Bachelor opened back up to pass holders and got to try this and get this out there. It's not what I'd hoped in terms of time on board like I got with the Arbor Wasteland here, but it's good enough for me to talk about it, and I've been on this board before, so there we go. Take a Camber directional twin, kind of a mountain freestyle twin. Not really a quiver killer, but definitely great for those who like to ride centered and ride switch more than they like to ride regular, and make it more forgiving. It's not as floaty as some hybrid shapes out there, but these lifted sides really make it much more forgiving than you would think for camber, and in most conditions it feels almost like full camber without the catch. So sizing wise, this is a 156. I usually ride a 158 with this type of board, like the Wasteland, this, and you know, the Iguchi, and most of those Arbor kind of like mountain freestyle to all mountain boards. But riding this 56 was really fun, and I liked it better than the 58, and that's kind of my new size. It works really well with my size 9 boots, very easy to manage and handle and turn. And then it could handle my weight pretty well. Arbor boards can handle a bigger guy, so that's kind of cool. At 185, I didn't feel like I was overpowering this board. So that's kind of cool. And also with these extensions here, it can fit a little bigger boot than you would think for its waist width. I mean, don't get crazy with that, but you can go maybe a half a size or a size bigger than you normally would. So that's kind of cool. As far as the shape goes, it's a directional twin. The nose seems to be a little bit longer than the tail. The tail's a little stiffer than the nose, but overall, it's a very, very close to being a double ender shape. And as far as camber goes, like we talked about before, it's full camber underfoot, but from tip to tail, but it has this lifted area, kind of like a fender on a car. They call it fender uprise, and what that does is it just removes the catchiest points of the board. So it has this very consistent camber-like feel in most conditions except for hard snow. Then it starts to feel a little edgeless and a little washy and a little off. You can get used to it very quickly if you ride this board all the time, but coming from other boards, it just didn't have that consistent feel in all conditions. But it's very easy to skid a turn, and it's got that camber feel, like I said, most of the time, but if you get off your game, it's not going to punish you like the Wasteland camber would to the right of me here. That's just full camber with the system, the grip tech here, no lifted, nothing. This is forgiving camber. This is old school, unforgiving, aggressive camber. So go that if you want that, and go this if you want a more forgiving ride. It's pretty medium stiff. It doesn't feel any like much softer. Sometimes boards like this are stiff in the waist, and then they get a little softer in the nose and tail. This one doesn't. This one feels pretty stiff all around, and it's not a chill board for buttering. It was not easy to butter. It took some work. It also doesn't have like totally easily accessible pop. It took me some work to get this thing to pop, but when it does, it's very lively and really pops well. Speed, I didn't really get like great conditions to really open this up, but you know, you can tell with this flex, it's got a damp personality to it. The extra wood in the top sheet seems to dampen up the ride a bit and kind of take it from feeling like kind of your standard SWS board that feels a little rubbery, but rubbery poppy. It has a rubbery pop to it. This has definitely a little more get up and go, and it can handle that micro bumpy chatter and power over stuff pretty well. The bass seems kind of, you know, like upper middle, not the fastest, not the slowest in the conditions that I wrote it, but you can play around with wax and get it to go a little better. As far as edge hold goes, it's great. I mean, yeah, this Arbor Wasteland is a little better because you have the tip and tail digging into the snow and the grip tech, but I didn't notice that this was that much behind it, and it was kind of like right there with the Iguchi too. And as far as turn initiation, it's really like quick to medium quick, edge to edge. I felt like it was really fun to get those quick turns and to really roll it over. And then as you widen out and get into wider radius turns, it still is fun. It's not quite that like the circle carver, but when laid over on edge and you kind of pressured into this grip tech here, it really carved well, and it really likes a center weighted carve. You can lean back a little bit and get a little surfy, but it's more skatey. It's more of a centered stance carve to it, and it felt great though. It had a good spring to it. So it's like I kind of like the Iguchi a little better, and I like the Wasteland a little better, but they're all like kind of up there in terms of carving. Powder, you don't get a lot of setback on board for this. They kind of call this all mountain. I call it mountain freestyle because it really likes to be centered and ridden that way in powder than setback like the Iguchi. I'd rather be on the Iguchi Camber all day than all these boards because that's where that shines the best. You can set it back, it has more inserts, you can get it further back on board and get more directional float. This barely has any directional float. Then on top of it, it's camber. That uprise fender technology makes the board less catchy, but doesn't really help it float as much as some hybrid shapes out there. So that's one kind of demerit there. If you ride this in powder, you want to be that kind of guy who knows how to float and plane well with a camber twin, and if you can do that, then you'll have a time with this. And switch, this was just really good either way. I loved centering it up, trying to carve more switch, trying to get better turns switch, then throwing it around regular. And park, man, you can hit kickers all day on this. It really tracks, even though it's like a quicker turn initiation kind of ride, it really tracks well into jumps. And if the pipe was open, I've ridden this in the pipe before, if the pipe was open, I would have loved to have lapped the pipe with this. So overall, you've got a pretty good mountain freestyle ride that is great for those that want that camber kind of pop and that energy and that feel, but don't want that catch. All our reviews are a best effort, objective opinion from an average rider's perspective. There's no brand oversight, and we're free to say whatever we want. We send back everything unless it's a favorite, then we ask to keep those or straight up buy them. Now, if you need advice, fill out the Me Harmony profile in the Contact Us section of the site. It's the only way I can help you properly. If you want to support us, and if what we reviewed appeals to you, it helps if you buy through our links. So, thanks for watching.